All right. Now we are in grade 9 mathematics, types of numbers and sequences. All right. Now, what I believe you should actually be able to do now is to identify sets of numbers. All right. Identify sets of numbers. So sets of numbers, and then uh, you are able to find factors of numbers, right? You are able to find factors of numbers. This is actually what we call the prerequisite knowledge. This is what you need to be able to do before we begin this topic. All right. So let's briefly review the identity of sets of numbers. We know that we have natural numbers, which are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and so on. All right. And we also have odd numbers. We also have even numbers. All right. So odd numbers here, when you divide them by 2, they leave the remainder of 1. But even numbers, when you divide them by 2, you have the remainder of 0. Okay? That means 2 is a factor of even numbers. It's a factor. So a factor will get into a number and leave a remainder of 0. All right? Then we also looked at square numbers. All right? We also looked at square numbers. You can have a set of square numbers, a set of even numbers, a set of odd numbers, a set of natural numbers. We also have cubic numbers. All right? Yes. Now, yeah, we do also look at integers being the negative and positive whole numbers, including 0. All right? So that's basically the prerequisite knowledge, what I believe you are able to do, right? Let's get into this topic now. In this topic, what you are going to do is to identify patterns in sets of numbers. Here we were just identifying sets of numbers, but there are patterns that are in these sets of numbers. So in this topic, we are going to be looking at patterns. All right. Patterns. All right. And then we will use these patterns. All right. We will use these patterns to find um, actually the rule. We will use the patterns to find the rule of a sequence. All right. And we will use patterns to find missing numbers. Missing numbers. All right. So these are the two things that we are going to do. All right. So we are still on numbers, types of numbers, but we are not identifying the types of numbers, but we are actually identifying the patterns in these types of numbers. And we are going to use the patterns to find the rule of a sequence and the missing numbers in a sequence. Let me give you an example. All right. Uh, um, let's say you want to list first six even numbers. First six even numbers. Okay. That would be 2. All right. And then 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. This is the first six even numbers. So when we write them like this, we call this a sequence. We call it a sequence of even numbers. So there is a pattern. Let's look at the pattern. What is this pattern? The pattern is, if you have the first number, how do you get to the second number? From the second number, how do you get to the third? Okay? So there is a pattern here. From the first number to the second number, what happens? I just add 2, right? And if you want to move now from the second number to the third number, you do what? You add 2. That is why we have 2 plus 2, 4. 4 plus 2, 6. Okay? From the third number to the fourth number, you still add 2. Okay? So from the third number to the fourth number, from the fourth number to the fifth, you add 2. From the fifth to the sixth, you add 2. So this is the pattern. This is what we call the pattern. All right? So, the pattern now. Now, we can use this pattern, the addition of 2, to find the rule. So, what is the rule of this sequence? We can say the rule of this sequence, the rule is actually add 2. All right? Add 2. Add 2 is the rule. What does the rule mean? It means that moving from one term to the next term, you just add 2. That is the rule. Every time you move to the next term, you add 2. That is the rule. So, this is the first term. This is the second term. And the third term, the fourth term, the fifth term, the sixth term. Okay? So, otherwise, we will say the first term of this sequence is 2. The second term is equal to what? 4. The third term is equal to 6, and so on. All right? So, to represent a term of a sequence, we use Tm. Mth term. All right? Tn. Okay? Now, let's see. Now, there could be the same sequence 2, 4, 6, 8, and the dash and dash. So what happens here? The examiner may ask you to copy and complete this sequence. So what are we doing? We are actually finding the missing terms here, the 2 missing terms. How are you going to find them? You are going to use the pattern. What is the pattern? What happens? From the first term to the second term, add 2. From the second term to the third term, add 2. From the third term to the fourth term, add 2. So, this is the pattern. So, what are you going to do from the fourth term to the fifth term? According to the pattern, you are going to add 2. Okay, that means 8 plus 2 will be 10. Okay? Then from this now term to the next term, the pattern is add 2, which is the rule. So you are going to get 10 plus 2, which is 12. All right. That's basically what happens here. Okay? That's basically what happens here. All right. Now, that means there is an important term first term. First term here is very important. The first term here is very important. All right. Because you cannot find a pattern if you don't start from the first term, then to the second, from the second, then to the third. Okay? Even if you are given the first term and the rule, let's see. Let's say the examiner says the first term of a sequence is 2, and the rule is at 2. Give, and let me mention that it is stated that the sequence is arithmetic. Okay, then later on you will know what arithmetic sequence means, but we are dealing with arithmetic sequence at this grade. Okay, and then it says uh, list the first 6 terms, the first 6 terms, the first 6 terms of the sequence. Okay, how would you do this? How would you do this? Okay, how would you do this? Now, the first term is given. The first term is 2. That means T1 equals to 2. And then the rule is at 2. Okay, so you are asked to list the first 6 terms. So how would you do that? How would you do this? This is how you would do it. The first term is 2, so you write 2, comma. Now the rule says you add 2. So that means from the second term to the first, from the first term to the second term, you just add 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. 4 plus 2 is 6. 6 add 2 is 8. 8 add 2 is 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 terms. We are left with the last one to make 6. 10 add 2 is 12. Dada. So this would be the sequence. All right? Yeah, that would be the sequence. Okay? So let's take one example. Let's take one example. Let's take one example. Let's say you have this sequence. Let's say you have this sequence here. You have the sequence 7, 11, 15, dash, dash. Okay? Okay, let me say and dash. Okay? Now copy and complete the sequence. What do? You must find what? The pattern. Then the pattern will help you find the rule. And the rule will help you find the missing terms. There are 3 missing terms. So what is the pattern? Let's see. What is the pattern here? What is the pattern? Let's see. From 7 to 11, what has been done? We had 7 to get 11. We added 4. Okay? From 11 to 15, what has happened? We had 11 to get 15. That means we added 4. So it looks like our pattern is 4 here. Okay? So what does that mean? That means to move from 15 to this term here, you just add 4. Add 4 is the rule. The rule is add 4. So we can use the rule add 4 to find the missing terms. So 15 add 4 is 19. 15 plus 4 is 19. 19 plus 4 is 23. 23 plus 4 is 27. Okay, so that's how you can find the missing terms. All right. Okay, that is basically how you can find the missing term here. All right. All right. Take care.